Kyle from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. I want to do a couple things today, kind of a new series, but first I want to maybe give an update of some sorts. I did that video about Minidiscs a few days ago and talking about recordings and stuff like that. So I want to transfer these recordings I have on Minidisc to, and like maybe I had tapes too. I would also put tapes on there too from the Minidisc. Minidisc player, I've got a component too. To the, this keeps its spot, Minidiscs, to my computer, and then maybe on archive.org or something, just to preserve them, quote-unquote archive them, whatever. And so I bought a cable. So of course, my Minidisc players don't have a USB connection because they're too old. The USBs weren't really used much at all, I don't think, in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. Minidiscs were developed in the early 90s actually. They have, as you can see, they have outputs, a microphone, outputs, and an input, but they're all mini plug or headphone jack size. So probably need to put that back. So I went online and I need a headphone jack or mini plug connection to run into run out of it to run into a USB, which would be for a computer. Unless they have another mini plug, you have a computer with a mini plug. Most laptops don't now. So I thought, well, I'll get USB and mini plug, run the signal from out of the Minidisc player, running out of here into the computer. This cable in particular that I found on Amazon don't work. Didn't pay a lot of money for it, thankfully. It wasn't a fortune, but less. It could still be used possibly for something else. I don't know what. Maybe the other way around, running something out of the computer into something. Not sure, but it doesn't work. But I did a little research, and then I found that there was another potential way to do this. Because my laptop, most laptops don't have those inputs. And you don't have many, like the last Minidisc player maybe had adapter. That was the most recent one was manufactured probably like 15 years ago before they were completely, like obsolete and not being made anymore. But this one that I've got here and the component I've got with my stereo doesn't. So you'd need a USB to USB or something like that. But this cable was also I found on Amazon from this Digit Now. Let's see. It has a USB, and it has a mini plug. It also has some RCAs. It came with some adapters too, so tried it this morning. Works. So you use like Audacity software. It's not gonna you can't take a file. It's not gonna. This thing is not gonna show up with files, unfortunately, on your hard drive. It'd be nice, but it doesn't. So you have to use some kind of recording software. I have Audacity's free. I'm going to actually be on this podcast for the band Mew coming up tomorrow, Saturday, July 3rd, which they need me to install Audacity. I don't know exactly why. I used Audacity for when I made the Psych podcast years ago. I'm trying to archive or preserve those too. But so this it does run the signal, and you install Audacity and you record with Audacity. There could be other pieces of software like Cubase or what's the other one that's really common for recording? Pro Tools, whatever. That would probably work as well. But Audacity doesn't cost anything, and it's been upgraded. It's a better software than when I used it, 10, 15 years ago when I was doing the Psych podcast. So, yeah, and so you get this is a 256 gig. I mean, the data storage has gone down in price, but still not incredibly cheap. But videos and audios like this, like you got the raw files and stuff, recording stuff on Audacity, those take up a lot of space, as I've come to learn. So 256 is nice, but I'm still looking. You can get terabytes, you can get separate drives, but I like the flash drives best because they're convenient. And I don't know if I've seen one with a terabyte. There probably is one that 5 terabytes even. But anyway, so that's a small announcement. I'll have to maybe mention it on social media at some point, maybe. I don't know, it's going to take me a long time because I have a lot of recordings on cassette tapes too, which I could actually, in theory, this would work with cassette tapes as well, and it might even work with vinyl, I'm not sure, but it would work with cassette tapes. So I have a lot of that stuff that I want to, not only radio shows, but like, recordings, those audio recordings, and man on the street stuff, the interviews I've did, a lot of stuff. So it's fun progress and projects. Unfortunately, I'm someone who does a lot of projects, starts a lot of projects rather, and only a percentage of them, a fraction of them actually get done. So, but this other this video is also going to be, I wanted to start a series, and again, talking about projects that you're starting and never finishing. I don't know if it needs to ever finish per se, but I want to do a lot with this, as much as I can with it. So, and I'm going to be choosing sort of the cream of the crop. What it is I want to show my the list of albums I want to come out on vinyl. Some of them are somewhat realistic, some of them are not very realistic. With The Shaming of the True from Kevin Gilbert's coming out later this year, supposedly, and like the OSI first debut album, Office of Strategic Influence, coming out on vinyl. Some other recent albums that did come on vinyl for the first time. It sort of came to mind because I've always had that in mind ever since I started buying vinyl, like a little over 10 years ago. Like, what albums are not on vinyl I'd want to get on vinyl. So I just picked out the cream of my favorites, but there's a lot more I'll have to do in future videos. But these are at the top among my favorites, and these are the 5-star albums. So, as I've said, this with Shaming of the True coming out, this is definitely number 1. Blood Moon from Apes and Androids. I'd say the realistic chance of this ever coming out on vinyl, you could get a gatefold like this, are pretty low, because they're not active anymore. It was a cult band, and it was released. You'd have to do a Kickstarter or something like that for it to come out. So, but Pipe Dream, this will probably be at the top of my list forever, because it will never probably come out. But so another one that is pretty unlikely, but I would say has a slightly better chance, but still pretty low, is the River Empires album I did a video on. By the way, I didn't even say this is Blood Moon. Anyway, Blood Moon from Apes and Androids. And a lot of these artists will be showing up on these videos in the future, I imagine, for some of the other releases. But the epilogue, self-titled River Empires. I mean, would I rather have new music from the River Empires and never have vinyl? Yes, but this would be spectacular on vinyl. I can't even imagine. It would probably... And, the popularity. And I would say it could happen if the cost of vinyl ever drops, or there's another Kickstarter campaign that they would be successful with. Yeah, but it's still pretty unlikely. But the River Empires epilogue record. Small Leak Sink Ships. This album, Face Yourself and Remove Your Sandals from 2015, was potentially going to come out on vinyl. And the fact that they've released a couple records on vinyl, an EP and a full length, The Golden Calf, Small Leak Sink Ships, there's a mild chance it could come out on vinyl someday. They're still pretty small and obscure, and the fact that the others did and this didn't, I think, and I'm not sure whether the band or the fan base even considers this their best record, their most popular. It's sort of on the fence between this and Golden Calf and their first album. But I'd say that there's, among these three I've shown so far, this is probably the most likely, but still I'd say it's kind of somewhat of a long shot, but, maybe someday. Now this one, if they were more active, I think there'd be a pretty damn good chance, because their last record came out. This is Caddisfly Set Sail the Prairie. Yeah, this would be tremendous, and I think... I don't know. I mean, I think... Again, it might be a Kickstarter campaign, but, it would be pretty great to see this on a full, 12-inch, or larger gatefold. The map and stuff would be cool to see on vinyl and for the artwork and everything. And it would be double. A lot of these would be doubles. In fact, I think every one I've shown so far would be a double. The River Empires might even be a triple because it's like 88 minutes. But yeah, Set Sail the Prairie would be amazing. And I think there's... And now in the next 5 to 10 years, there's an outside chance. It's still not that likely, but I think there's an outside chance. I think there's a pretty good chance this will happen at some point. Ours, Distorted Lullaby, is their debut album. I think the whole Ours catalog at some point probably will, because everyone, since the last 3 have come out on vinyl, and it's Jimmy Necco's solo record, this would be a big deal to a lot of people. Even though they're kind of, not forgotten, I guess you could say slightly, they're not at the same level of popularity they once were, but this is on a major label, and this is their most popular album still, I would say. So a vinyl pressing for Distorted Lullaby would probably sell pretty well. It would be obvious. It would probably be a limited pressing. Maybe it'd be a record store day thing or something. I don't know. that Jimmy and ours have never had anything on Record Store Day, but I wouldn't think it would be impossible. So, oh, I remember the other one, that all the King's X stuff that's coming on vinyl. That's what kind of also got me thinking. Well, those albums would have been the 3 that are coming out Record Store Day in a few weeks on July 17th. Manic Moonlight, Please Come Home, Mr. Bulbous, and Tapehead. You know, that only leaves a couple of their records. That leaves the last 2, XV and Ogre Tones, and I believe Black Like Sunday. But I think almost all the 90s albums, besides the one that are coming out on July 17th, have been released. So yeah, that only leaves that, and then the new album that's might still come out this year. I saw something that they're going to be headlining Rite of Spring or Rossfest, but I think that's maybe next year. It's either late in 2021 or early 2022. So the King's X album, I'm guessing, will come out on vinyl though, so that might kind of sort of escalate the other records besides the Record Store Day stuff. So, but yeah, Distorted Lullabies would be a huge deal. I think there's a decent, I don't think it's certainty, but a pretty high chance among all these records that I want to come out on vinyl. So, Hotel of Laughing Trees, Terror and Everything After, I would say is, even though Brookvale Records was released on, as you can see, and they released some Dream Theater vinyl, they just never really took off after a little bit of momentum with this record. They put out a second album, New World Sundown, which I don't even know if it came out on CD, and they're inactive still right now, unfortunately, Hotel of Laughing Tree. I think the last thing they did was like that Hotel Junk Box, which was like 2017. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a really great record. Again, it would be double probably, but it came out in 2011, 10 years ago. An anniversary vinyl would have been great this year, but their popularity and this album's recognition and the certainty and confidence to sell it, it would be a Kickstarter probably, it would be limited pressing, but maybe someday. I wouldn't think it would be impossible, but... So Ben Sinister's Stories of Brothers, Tales of Lovers. I'm going to be making a Ben Sinister video soon, not today though, but their early records, this one, the one before it, I'll show that probably another one. I think that's it, because they had Small Fame, Animals, and their last record all came out on vinyl, so... Oh, shit, jeez, then of course I dropped the CD in the process. That's why you want vinyl. I've got multiple copies of this record, but this is one of my favorite... This is my favorite Ben Sinister record among the band who's a favorite of mine. So it would be great to see this come out on vinyl. Again, they're kind of obscure, but not as obscure. And the fact that they've released a bunch of vinyl, and they have a little bit of a cult following, especially in Canada. Even though the lineup was different then, this is on a different label and everything. This and then the run before it, you know, and again, that will be saved for another video, I think, but would be great. And I think there's a mild chance, not certainty, but better than a lot of these records I'm showing today. And then the last one I picked out was Soundscapes Discovery from 1997, the prog metal band from Connecticut. They've actually released new music, so a couple songs the last couple of years, and I still think it's probably unlikely, because again, this is so super obscure, and that... What did I just drop? A receipt or a card or something? Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, where I bought it. This was one of my first favorite CDs ever, actually, the truth. Prog metal, the obscure prog metal band. The Prog Power USA, Power Mad, prog metal, power metal fan base knows them. Of course, Rob Volpentest, or Rob Thorne, as is known, Thorne, got the band Sacred Oath. You'd have to get the Sacred Oath people to really want it too, because I think a lot of them probably are fans of this. But I'd say, you know, among all of these, I'd be happy if even, you know, a quarter of them, like 3 or 4 of them ever came out on vinyl. But yeah, there's more of them that I'm going to show that probably have higher chances. Like, another one I thought of, I can just show right now, do a video on hers. This one took a while to come out. Imogen Heap, Speak for Yourself. So it's happening more and more as long as there's demand for vinyl. But, you know, it's still kind of, it's a lot of money, and you got to be certain you're going to sell it, or you got to find a way to pre-fund it with a lot of these obscure bands. The major label stuff that never came on vinyl is better chance, and that's happened. It's happening more and more, but... Anyway, thank you for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.